Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the National Iron and Steel Heritage Museum. I'm Jim Ziegler. I'm the Executive Director. I'd like to welcome you here tonight. Thank you for coming. A little bit about the connection of why we're here and what we're doing. These steel pieces were made here in Coatesville in 1968 and 69. There are a total of 28 of these pieces here returned to us after the disaster. They were the lobby and the first office floors, the 9 stories. They were what was still standing after the disaster. So you know what transpired here today. This morning at 8:46, we began by marking the time of the significant events of the day, ringing a bell, saying what was occurring at that time, and that went on until 10:28. We did have some local dignitaries from the city, the county, the state, and the federal levels here speaking. So tonight is different. Tonight is no more speaking other than me. I'll impose just for a few moments, and then I will, of course, we have the accompaniment of the Lukens Band, the 49ers, and ArcelorMittal Steel Mill, as you can hear them making steel across the way. In continuous operation for 207 years, the longest continuously operating steel plant in America. At this time, what we would like to do is just a small commemoration with some speaking. We'd like to remember those who died on September 11th, 2001. Let us remember the 343 firefighters and 71 law enforcement officers, police officers, who gave their lives that day, who selflessly rushed to the aid in the rescue effort. Let us also remember the 55 military personnel who died in the attack on the Pentagon, and the 1 law enforcement officer on United Flight 93. There were 353 non-U.S. citizen victims from over 90 countries, including 67 from the United Kingdom, 47 from the Dominican Republic, and 41 from India. Now let us take time to remember those connected to Chester County who died that day. I'll read their name, we'll have a ringing of the bell, and a moment of silence. Christopher Robert Clark. Christopher was a 34-year-old bond trader for Sandler O'Neill and Partners on the 104th floor of 2 World Trade Center. He was born in Devon with a twin brother, Tim, and grew up in Villanova before graduating from St. Joseph's Prep in 1986. His nickname was Buddha from when he was a baby. He did like to golf and eat cheeseburgers, apparently for breakfast too. Christopher married his wife, Casey Connors Clark, only the previous March, and they continued to live in Philadelphia while he commuted 3 hours to New York each day. He was the son of Janet and Frank Clark. Michael Horrocks. Michael was a U.S. Marine before becoming the first officer in America Airlines Flight 175. He was also the quarterback of the football team and graduate of Westchester University. He was the husband of Miriam, and his children are Krista and Mick. Kevin Marlowe. Kevin was a graduate of Henderson High School in Westchester, was an associate director in equity sales and trading for Sandler O'Neill Partners, and on the 104th floor of 2 World Trade Center. He made cameo appearances on the Jay Leno Show and as an extra in the Woody Allen movie Celebrity. A week prior to 9/11, he completed filming of a reality TV show on the WB network. He was the son of Dennis Marlowe and Rosemary Meyer. George Eric Smith. George worked on the 97th floor of 2 World Trade Center. as a senior business analyst with SunGuard Asset Management Systems Global Plus. He was a graduate of Phoenixville High School and attended Allentown College. He stayed in New York in a corporate apartment that came home on weekends to Chester County. George was also deacon of Cornerstone Evangelical Free Church in Kimberton, and he was devoted to his grandmother. George's parents were Raymond Smith II and Georgia Jackson. Richard H. Stewart. Richard was a 35-year-old bond trader at Cantor Fitzgerald on the 104th floor of One World Trade Center from Kennett Square. He attended Upland Country Day School where he played ice hockey, becoming the school's single-season scoring leader with 42 goals, a record that lasted 13 years. He went on to play for St. Lawrence University's men's hockey team that reached the NCAA Finals in 1988. Richard is currently in the university's Hall of Fame. His story became the subject of an award-winning Comcast Sportsnet documentary. And we can't thank enough to our first responders. Today we had many, many first responders here. We had the Coatesville ladder truck here with a large flag, and we had a large contingent from the Coatesville Police Department. We will continue to remember these events of September 11th for the victims who died that day, as well as the responders and survivors who lived with that day. Thank you for coming this evening, and please enjoy the music.
Thanks, Jim. On behalf of the National Iron and Steel Heritage Museum, the 49ers Chorus, and the Lukens Band, I welcome you to this evening's concert of remembrance. 364 days out of this year, this is a parking lot. On September 11th of each year, it becomes sacred ground. We are surrounded by the once mighty steel tridents produced right here in the steel mill that surrounds us. At one time, they supported the World Trade Center towers, but are now the vivid reminders of those who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. Many of us can remember the exact circumstance when we became aware of the situation that was developing in New York City on that tragic day. For me, ironically, it occurred as I was driving by this very spot. I was on my way back from South Brandywine Middle School, where I had just observed a student teacher that I was taking care of as part of my duties at Westchester University. I turned on my car radio, and I heard about the events that were taking place just a few hours away. As I was preparing for announcing the pieces we would play this evening, I tried to picture in my mind the significance that each would convey to you, the audience. Our first number, Fanfare and Flourishes, is part of the musical repertoire of both Catholic and Protestant churches. I like to think that as those who perished on 9/11/2001 were greeted by fanfares and flourishes as they entered the gates of heaven. I'll introduce our director, Richard Miller, to direct Fanfare and Flourishes. Almost every religion has a belief in the afterlife. As you listen to this beautiful piece by Rosano Galante, picture in your mind if this is what paradise will be like. The Louvre is the world's largest art museum and is located in Paris, France. The Louvre contains art and artifacts from all over the world. The World Trade Center Twin Towers were, at the time they were built, the tallest buildings in the world. On September 11th, they were destroyed along with a portion of the Pentagon and 3 commercial aircraft. Each of these were occupied by people from all over the world. 296 people were killed on 9/11, and approximately 6,000 were wounded. This includes those in New York at the Pentagon and on United Airlines Flight 93 that crashed in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Of those killed, 343 were firefighters, 73 were law enforcement officers, 55 military, and all of the rest were civilians representing 90 countries. As we play 3 scenes from the Louvre, remember all those who lost their lives, and this was a worldwide tragedy.
Good evening. My name is Greg Gibler. I'm the director of the 49ers Chorus. I'd like to introduce my accompanist, Tina Stuber. Please give her a round of applause. It's an honor to be here tonight and to perform for you. The first number we're going to be doing is a song that was written by Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah. Most people don't know that he writes actually a lot of songs. This is one of the songs that he wrote a few years ago, and it's for memorials. It's for, if you've ever been to the Arlington Cemetery or to a military cemetery, the song is about the men and women that are interred there. It's called Blades of Grass and Pure White Stones.
Blades of grass and pure white stones shelter those who've come and gone. Just below the emerald sun are those who reached the arms of God. Buried here with dignity. Endless rose for all to see. Freedom seeds in sorrow sown, 'neath blades of grass and pure white stones. Blades of grass and pure white stones cover those who left their homes to rest in fields here side by side, lest we forget their sacrifice. Buried here with dignity. Endless rose for all to see. Freedom seeds in sorrow sown, 'neath blades of grass and pure white stones. Just below the emerald sun are those who reached the arms of God. Buried here with dignity. Endless rose for all to see. Freedom seeds in sorrow sown, 'neath blades of grass and pure white stones. 'Neath blades of grass and pure white stones.
Thank you. Our next piece is a song called American Tears. It was written by Teresa Jennings, and it actually comes from it's actually originally was a two-part arrangement for kids to sing. I rearranged it a few years back as a four-part chorus. We're going to be singing that for you tonight.
would be known throughout history. Sometimes I think about America, about her pain along the way. I know it had to be for a democracy, for the world we live in today.
For the heroes, for the patriots, for the soldiers and all the pioneers, I will always be an American, and I'll always cry American tears. I'll always proudly the soldiers and all the pioneers. I will always be an American, and I'll always cry American tears. Always cry. Always be an American. And I'll always cry American tears. I will cry American tears.
Our next song, we'd like you to sing along with us. We're going to be singing America the Beautiful. What will happen is our soloist will start it, then the chorus will sing a little bit, then the soloist will come back in. Then we're going to come back in on the first verse. So you just need to know the first verse of America the Beautiful, and that's the verse we all know. And you can sing that along with us.
Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, forever
always great when we have a chance to be here with the 49ers Chorus. As we play James Swearington's rendition of Lead On, O King Eternal, I encourage you to look it up in your church hymnal sometime and carefully read the words that were written by the hymn's composer, Ernst W. Shirtlip, in 1887. Take time to read the short poem that is in your program that is the inspiration for our next composition, With Quiet Courage. Think of the hundreds of firefighters and police officers that were trudging up the stairways of the World Trade Center as hundreds of civilians were coming down the stairs. They did so with quiet courage. They did so not knowing what lay ahead or how tragically their day would end. We honor them for their courage and heroism, but they would probably tell us they were just doing their jobs. Here's With Quiet Courage. I can't think of a more appropriate piece to be included in our program than our next number. Not only because of the remembrance of 9/11, but all of the recent storm events and fire events across our nation. It is certainly a time for our nation to say a prayer for all. Since 9/11, the entire world has been fighting terrorism. This has not been an American fight, but one that has been being faced by all countries all over the world. And before the band and the 49ers join together for our last number, we'd like to have each of you hold a lit candle as a sign of remembrance. Someone will go along the side and light the candles, and please light the candles down the row as you get them lit. And then we'll be under the direction of Greg Gibler as we do Let There Be Peace on Earth. Thank you very much for coming out this evening.